What's up, guys? It's Jake here from Chief Live Gaming. Today, a review of Traitor Legions. This book, guys, is 2 thumbs up. You can't see this thumb because it's back here. There we go. 2 thumbs up. And I've had a lot of questions about Death Guard in Traitor Legions, which is flattering, you guys. Thank you for thinking of me somehow as a knowledge base for you to pull from. I'm kind of a noob, but I love Death Guard. If there's one thing I know in Warhammer, it's Death Guard. And I've had people approach me with questions like, what do you think the best list is for Death Guard? What do you think the strongest way to field Death Guard is now that this book is out? Things like that. So I wanted to make a video for you guys. Go through this briefly, hopefully. That's the key word. There are a lot of special rules to go through. I'm going to try to bullet point them as much as possible for you guys, give you just the nuts and bolts of this sort of idea, and then go from there with some of my thoughts, kind of an outline for a list that I think will do quite well. So let's change the camera angle and crack this bad boy open, guys. Okay, guys, here we are with the supplement. I've marked the Death Guard page itself. Before we get really ahead of ourselves here, talking about what units and what formations to bring, I want to go over basically the chapter tactics for the Death Guard, which basically is what you get when you choose Death Guard as your theme or your chapter tactics. So there are some restrictions. Again, I'm going to bullet point these. I'm going to go over what I think is most important. If you guys feel necessary, go ahead and pause the video. You can read through these, but you must take the mark of Nurgle. You can't take any other marks. That's important. You have to upgrade to Veterans of the Long War, but it's free. And that's basically the important things of kind of that govern your list building. So Veterans of the Long War, just remember, we have to take it and we're getting it for free, because down here, Gifts of Nurgle. Units that have Veterans of the Long War have Fearless and Feel No Pain, but reduce their initiative by 1. Okay, just keep that in the back of your mind. We're gonna center this around what we're gonna do here. This is very, very important. A couple other things here, not influential in what we're going to be doing too much, but they're there. There are a few additional things you might want to look at. So we've got some Warlord traits here specific to the Death Guard. All I want to do is mention that they're very cool. They can kind of theme into Nurgle very well. They all seem to keep your Warlord alive, keep him tougher, very Nurgle-y. There is an artifact that I want to talk about. There are quite a few decent ones. The main one I want to talk about is the Poxwalker Hive. It says, at the start of each of your turns, pick a friendly unit of Chaos Cultists within 7 inches to infect with the Poxwalker virus. For the rest of the game, the unit of Chaos Cultists cannot run or make shooting attacks, but they gain Fearless and Feel No Pain. In addition, at the start of each of your following turns, return D3 Slaying models to every friendly unit of infected Chaos Cultists that are within 7 inches of the bearer. So, giving Cultists Feel No Pain and Fearless. Fearless Cultists, that is the dream. It's amazing. So, that's what I want to talk about there. Now, this is the Death Guard Vectorium. We see that up here, which is the name for the Decurion that the Death Guard can take. It's basically, I'm going to go in a little closer here. It's basically the Traitor's Hate supplement Decurion that we just got a little while ago for Chaos, plus the Plague Colony. So each Legion gets a unique formation to include as a core choice within this Decurion. So the Plague Colony is the one for Nurgle, now, or for Death Guard. By bringing this detachment, you get a couple rules. The main one, again, I'm going to bullet point this. disgustingly resilient. Units from this detachment can reroll feel no pain rolls of 1. Very important. So we're pairing that with this over here because we get Veterans of the Long War for free, and all units that have Veterans of the Long War are gaining feel no pain, and then we're also re-rolling feel no pain rolls of 1. So it's safe to say that the power of Death Guard is coming from this Decurion. Now, it's not that important to bring this Decurion. Again, we're pretty much gaining that feel no pain, re-rolling 1s benefit. It's not super important to do this, but it is one more way to keep your units on the battlefield. The inherent strength of Death Guard and of Nurgle-styled units is they are extremely hard to uproot. That is what we want to strive for as a Death Guard player. We're going to do well in kill point games. We're going to do well in Maelstrom, where there's a lot of objectives that we can spread out our units and kind of root in some cover and just sit there and be obnoxiously hard to kill. So any way that we can build into that is going to be beneficial. So that's why I think it's pretty important to try to bring this Vectorium. Now it's, again, combined arms detachment with the chapter tactics for the Death Guard. You're still gaining these benefits, so you can still make some pretty cool lists. Now, in the effort to try to keep this video somewhat brief, I want to talk about sort of a list that will include the Plague Colony and a Chaos Warband as your core choices. Now, this is going to differ dependent on your collection, dependent on your models, but I think it's safe to say that it's going to be pretty easy for most players to be able to bring something like this, or at least one of these two. So I want to talk about them as a core. We'll say we're playing at like your average size game, maybe 1850. So back to page 70. Let's take a look at the Plague Colony. Here we are. We need a Chaos Ordered Typhus, 3 to 7 units of Plague Marines, and the benefits are Fear. We gain Fear, which doesn't come up a lot, but could be helpful. This is the big one, guys. Enervating Pestilential Aura. Enemy models within 7 inches of any Plague Colony units at the start of the fight subphase must reduce their initiative and weapon skill by 1. So that's for just bringing the minimum. Now, if you bring all the way up to 7 squads of Plague Marines with that Chaos Ordered Typhus, you're also going to reduce their toughness by 1. So that is extremely powerful. Again, we're building off that same concept that we're tough to kill. It's Nurgle, it's Chaos, Death Guard. We're very hard to uproot. So by bringing a Plague Colony, even if it's the minimum of 3 units of Plague Marines and that Chaos Lord, you can do that for around 500 to 600 points, I would say, pretty reasonably, with some relatively upgraded Plague Marines. Remember, you can bring 2 special weapons in each group of 5, running double plasma, put them in a Rhino. A very nice unit with a very survivable lifespan, a very long lifespan on the battlefield, most likely. So, remember, it says enemy models within 7 inches of any Plague Colony units at the start of the fight subphase. You don't have to have the Plague Colony units in combat to debuff the enemies. They just need to be 7 inches away from the combat. So it can be very beneficial to kind of intermix your Plague Marines, however many you have, throughout your army, and kind of have a squad babysitting each little chunk or each little portion of your army. So I would recommend trying to include this Plague Colony because it's very important, bringing the initiative down by 1 because Nurgle units are generally slower, especially Plague Marines. You know, they're attacking at initiative 3 instead of initiative 4, so your average Space Marine will go first, but if you debuff them here, you're attacking at the same time. Very important. You're re-rolling failed wounds because of the debuff to toughness, if you can get all the way there. So the way that works is because you're reducing the enemy Space Marine's toughness to 3, and you have poison 4 up, you get to re-roll your failed wounds because that's just kind of part of the poison rule rolled in. So you can get a really nasty really quick with this Plague Colony. So what I want to talk about now is the, find it, Chaos Warband. Here we are. So this is where it kind of gets interesting. Now I want to let you guys look at the formation here. Now the special rules, this favored scions is not as important in a Death Guard list, because when you bring it with Traitor's Hate, normally you get a free Chaos Boon every turn. So it's very cool to have this rule, because you're generating 2 every turn for free. You're not getting that bonus with the Death Guard Victorium, but it still helps out to be able to get those extra Chaos Boons. Now, having objectives secured is also very strong. And depending on your game type, depending on what you guys are doing, the meta or the mission that you're playing, having objectives secured in a formation, not a combined arms detachment, is huge. Very powerful, very helpful, depending on the game type. So let's take a look here at what we need to bring. Again, you see another Chaos Lord here. So keep in the back of your mind that if we're bringing a Chaos Warband and the Plague Colony, we need 2 Chaos Lords. We're not going to bring Typhus, or I'm not going to. He's just a little too expensive for what I want to do. We need a unit of Chosen, Chaos Terminators, or Possessed. So bringing Chaos Terminators is a little more viable now. We give them the Mark of Nurgle, they get Veterans of the Long War for free, now they have Feel No Pain. All of a sudden Terminators are looking a little bit more attractive. Those Feel No Pain rolls, giving them the little extra buff that they need, rerolling 1s, it can be really nice. Terminators with Feel No Pain, that's pretty sexual. 2 to 6 units of Chaos Space Marines. So this is kind of the tax of the Warband. Now we're basically getting ghetto Plague Marines in a way, because we're forced to take Mark of Nurgle, and they're getting the Feel No Pain because we're giving Veterans Long War, but they don't have the cool stuff that Plague Marines have, such as being able to bring 2 special weapons in a group of 5, Blight Grenades, Poison 4-up. They're missing some of those rules, but they are a little bit cheaper, so they have their use. I would suggest bringing min squads of these, 5 in a Rhino, sprinkle them around. Now here's where it gets nasty, guys. So this is going to be how I'm going to want to centralize or build the core of my entire list, is around this right here. 1 to 3 units of Chaos Bikers. So we're going to bring the max 3 units of Chaos Bikers. And here's why. If you've played Death Guard or Nurgle themed armies before, you know how good Nurgle Bikers are, right? They're toughness 6 on a bike. Insane. Now imagine giving them Feel No Pain. That's insanity. Boys, that is super, I don't even know what to say, super good. It's very strong. So we have those 2 Chaos Lords. Depending on how you want to outfit them, there are multiple options. I can make a whole video on outfitting Chaos Lords. They can tag along with our unit of bikes. And now suddenly you've got a pretty scary, pretty nasty unit. We also need to bring 1 to 3 units of Havocs or a Hellbrute. Now, normally I would say let's go for the Hellbrute, but it's interesting, just as a side note, because of one of the Death Guard chapter tactic rules. Let's find it right here. Units that have Veterans Long War special rule have Relentless. Havocs can get Veterans Long War, so we can have Relentless Havocs with Feel No Pain. Interesting, right? Not great, but potential there. It's an interesting way to bring, kind of put a new spin on the same old unit. I like it a lot. I think it's cool. I think it could be kind of fun. So we've got our 2 core detachments, or 2 core formations. Now we need an auxiliary formation. What I would recommend for most of these lists is to go with the Spawn. It's just 1 to 3 units of Chaos Spawn. You bring a pack of 3 Mark of Nurgle Spawn, and your Chaos Lord can pair up with a really nice bodyguard unit. Spawn with the Mark of Nurgle are awesome. So from there, there's a lot of options in here for other auxiliary formations. And again, that's where we're going to come into your collection, your model collection, depending on what you have, depending on what you have available to you that you can bring. What I might suggest is to kind of take a look. Now let's think about this, right? We've got a cast warband and we've got a plague colony. That's a lot of plague marines and it's a lot of infantry, not very much heavy support, not very much tank support. We don't have much armored units on the board. So trying to fit in things like predators or Sicarans, or, you know, depending on what kind of stuff that you have in your collection. If you're a Forge World guy, if you're more of a vanilla collector, try to fit in some heavy hitters to offset sort of the weakness that we've created by building these two formations here. So a really cool way to do that is with the Cult of Destruction right here, page 51. I think it's this formation. Let me be right. Let me be right. Sure enough. Okay, sorry guys, I wanted to look up and see if Obliterators could get Veterans Long War, because I couldn't remember, and they actually can. So this formation is going to be a recommendation for me for sure to try to fit this in, depending on your points level. Let's go over it really quick. We need 1 to 3 Warpsmith, 3 to 5 units of Obliterators or Mutilators. I'm gonna go with a Blitz because we're trying to plug that gap in our list where we need some heavy weapons fire, we need some support, and something more anti-tank, anti-heavy sort of role. So Obliterators are gonna help with that. They're gonna be pretty good. Now, I just looked up that they can get Veterans of the Long War. So let's just think about how awesome that is. We've got Obliterators, which on their own are annoying as hell. 2 wounds, 2 up save with a 5 up invuln because they're in Terminator armor. Give them Mark and Nurgle, now they're toughness 5. Give them Veterans of the Long War because it's free with this chapter tactic. And now they have Feel No Pain, and they're re-rolling 1s on the Feel No Pain. Just like, what is that? So you're getting Feel No Pain rolls on everything but D or Strength 10 because they're only doubled out by Strength 10. So even las cannon fire coming into your Obliterators, which is usually something that does well against a Blitz, because they're toughness 5 from the Mark and Nurgle, they're not getting instant death. They still get to make their Feel No Pain after they make their 5 up invuln. So it's just one more way to keep your Blitz alive. Guys, this is really strong. And I would definitely recommend that you try to get some Obliterators in to your list. I would bring 1 unit. You need 3 units. So I would make 1 unit, 3 Oblits, and then bring 2 singles. You throw your Warpsmith in with that unit of 3, and then he uses his Empyreanic Guidance Ritual and lets them fire twice, once per turn. So that is very handy. You've got access to las cannons, multi-meltas, plasma cannons, all kinds of flamer goodness, twin-linked plasma gun. I mean, there's all kinds of really nice stuff in the Obliterator weapon chart that's going to help you to offset some of the weaknesses in your list and give you another really thick unit to dig in, maybe deep strike in, and just be very, very tough for your opponent to deal with. Just try it out. In conjunction with the Nurgle Bikers, I would have to say that those are the 2 strongest units available to Nurgle players or to Death Guard players in general. Nurgle Obliterators and Nurgle Bikers. So give them a try and see how they work for you. That's the way I kind of like to sneak in some of that heavy support that you're severely lacking with the Decurion as it stood previously. My other thought is to throw in a Combined Arms Detachment. So this is the most versatile way. This is the best kind of well-rounded situation. And it leads back, and I'm going to tie it one more time back into this Poxwalker hive. So what I would recommend You grab, for your combined arms or even an allied detachment, say you just want to keep the points low and sneak in a heavy support slot or something, you grab a Chaos Sorcerer, you give him this Poxwalker Hive, or you give this Poxwalker Hive to one of your Chaos Lords on the bike, and for your troop choice that's required for that CAD or required for that allied detachment, you bring a block of 20 cultists. At the beginning of the game, you cast this Poxwalker Hive on them. They're now fearless, they have feel no pain, they're sitting on a backfield objective. Awesome. That is what I like to think about for a very effective sort of backfield unit and a very efficient way to sneak in some of your more special units that you want to support your army. Say you have a Helldrake that you really want to bring. Now it's kind of hard to get a Helldrake in one of these formations unless you have the Terror Pack. You know, you can't really do it. So bringing that allied detachment, 1 sorcerer, block a cultist, 20 cultist guys is only 90 points. Unmarked. Amazing. And then you throw your Helldrake in, or you throw your Land Raider in. You throw your Predator's Talon, or whatever they call it, Predator Squadron, I guess. Thoughts? So that's, in a nutshell, guys, kind of my initial build, I want to say, template. That's probably a better word, for the Death Guard in the Traitor Legions supplement. So there are a lot of ways that you could decide to bring Death Guard, but I think trying to bring those formations in conjunction with all of these cool special rules is really going to play off of every strength and kind of tie everything back together in a way that is a good core. It's not going to be a very ultra competitive style of list. It's not going to bring enough firepower or enough damage to really hang with some of the really strong net lists or the meta lists right now, but it can stand up in most games because of how resilient everything in your army is. It's very difficult to remove toughness 6 bikers with feel no pain, no matter who you are. Unless you're throwing D-shots everywhere, it's very difficult. And even then, that's D-shots that aren't going somewhere else. You could sneak a Renegade Knight into this list in your Combined Arms Detachment. That's taking away some D-shots from your Renegade Knight. You know what I mean? Like they're pulling away from other key elements of your army. You've got a lot of very thick, very strong, resilient units to dig into objectives, to dig into key points of the board, and that's where Death Guard really shines, are those kind of game types. So if you've got somebody that wants to play maybe King of the Hill, or what's that, Emperor's Will, I think it's called, where you have the 2 bases that you're trying to attack and defend, Death Guard is a lot of fun. So I highly recommend you guys check out the Traitor Legions supplement and give Death Guard a try. For those of you out there that have asked me to give my thoughts on this, I hope this is helpful. I hope this is giving you a few ideas, maybe made you think about things in a bit different of a way than you might have otherwise, and maybe just sparked some creativity for your next list. All right, guys, so thanks a lot for watching. I hope that it's been enjoyable, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.